the coolest station in the world, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe. And tune in to us
Yes.
every Thursday from 5 to 6
Best
p.m.
way to spend your Thursday afternoon.
Right,
5
with
to
Dr.
6.
T and Dr. Fishta. And we have a very, very special guest today.
Back again.
You are back again. Thank
And
you
I
for-
appreciate you guys.
We have the
coming in.
Love Guru with us, everyone. The Love Guru.
Detroit's love guru.
I appreciate everybody tuning in. I definitely appreciate the invite coming back. I have a lot of fun doing this.
Well,
It's awesome.
We enjoy you. We always have fun here.
Oh,
you
God,
make
yes.
us laugh, and you give us informative information.
Hopefully.
That our audience can use. So that's the best thing that we can hope
Yes,
for.
absolutely. I'm all about helping as many people out there as possible.
Yep, and
Big
you do,
time.
You do this in your day-to-day job. You
Yeah,
literally
this is
work
my
with-
gig. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
my gig with couples, sexual challenges. It could be, a lot of affairs, cheating, any type of form out there, going through a divorce, breakup. I work with all kind of couples. You don't have to be married. I think 60% of my couples aren't married. So I work with a lot, a huge, I was talking Dr. T, like close to 85% of my clients I see are African American, people of color, and I love it. I love diversity. I love people of different cultures seeking out, breaking taboos, coming out, getting the help, and it's awesome.
And
I love
actually
it.
getting the help, because for so long, especially the black community,
Oh, yes.
we were taught to, what
was like, "Get back."
happens in the house stays in the house. You keep your business to yourself. And now we're learning how harmful those things actually are.
Yes.
And we need to speak up, and we need to foster our own mental well-being. So coming to speak to a professional like ourselves,
Absolutely.
because we're all licensed professionals.
Hopefully,
here
right?
in- well,
That's important.
I'm licensed. I'll
That's
tell you
important.
that. I'm
I am too.
licensed.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully, right?
Right. So, you say that you mainly see couples.
Yes, and I do individuals as well. I also do grief, and I specialize in trauma too. I used to specialize in severe trauma, sexual trauma in kids. I stopped probably about 8-9 years ago. I'm flattered. I still get calls from Children's Center of Detroit. Referrals from before. I keep telling them, stop, take me off the list. And,
That's not going to happen.
I know they won't. I'm flattered, but yeah, I don't work with kids, but I do. I handpick now. I work with a lot of grief and trauma in adults, rape survivors. A loved one committed suicide in front of them, shooting themselves, and stuff like that. First responders.
So we have the same kind of
absolutely
dealing with
So,
trauma.
yes.
Since we started, I want to ask you this question.
Yes.
When is ideal for a couple to get counseling? Now, I say they should get it all the time, but we're not biased, right?
And I'm
But
going to add to that too. So
What-
I'm
what
going
is
to hear
it-
what you say.
What should people know? What are signs? When do you know that counseling could be helpful here in our relationship?
When you start arguing back and forth and it's consistent. Okay, you're going to argue, you're going to bicker back and forth. That's normal relationship stuff.
Right.
Let's be real. But if you get to the point where you are consistently going tit for tat, you feel disconnected, you need to get help. Because unfortunately, most of the couples I see, I want to say 90% of the couples, they're breaking up, separated, one cheated, both cheated, divorce papers are filed or just about getting there. It's like, I hear this a lot. Greg, you're our last hope. And I start breaking out, sweating and getting all nervous. And stuff. No
pressure.
Like
No,
it's all on
yeah,
you.
no
If this-
pressure.
Right.
I'm-
If the relationship doesn't succeed, it's your fault.
No, yeah. I wish people would be more proactive. And, if they start seeing steps, all of a sudden, they're arguing a lot more, and it increases, the intensity increases. Please reach out and get help before it gets to the point where, I'm your last hope, if you will, or another therapist is your last hope, to where you're talking, you're divorced, already have a lawyer, you're kicking out, one's already kicked out, living with another family member. Please reach out and get help before it is too late. And I advocate that. And I know it's not easy. I tell people no one wants to come and see us, right? Let's be real.
Right.
Especially with relationship, and like you said about throwing your dirt out there, the emotional hurt and the dirt, and embarrassment. Let's face it,
Exactly. And
especially
sometimes even shame or guilt.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I get it, and I tell everybody, I know no one wants to be here, right?
Right.
So, and I'm this is me. I'm
And
very
sometimes
down
not
to
even
earth.
you, right?
No, yeah, I'm down to earth, and so it's very, and even for not just couples, but I think people in general, if you're having a hard time, you're having more tough days, more difficult days than you are more positive days, please reach out and seek help. And you have other professionals here as well, right?
Jesus, just a recent study from England, right?
Yes.
Folks who have had COVID, 1 out of 3 experiencing clinical mental disorder. I don't know why we're surprised, because we saw that with SARS back in 2003 in Hong Kong.
Yes.
40% of those who had SARS 3.5 years later had clinical anxiety and depression,
Absolutely.
Right.
But we know it's confirmed now with us here, obviously, and now some of that will have an impact in relationships and things of that nature. Let me ask you this general question, Greg. Are the numbers increasing? Are you having more demand for your services?
I am. I'm flattered. I'm swamped. I'm very flattered, and I get asked this a lot. And I have seen. I don't think there has been an increase per se over the last, I want to say, 5 years. There might have been a 10% increase, but I can't speak for anybody else. And I know you too. I know a lot of agencies, and I hear a lot of people I call. I don't get calls back. There's, a month, 2 months waiting list, and it's sad. So I know the need, especially on the individual basis. I know, I hear it. I hear it from you two. I hear it from other colleagues that they're just swamped. So on that level,
has not increased, Greg, because you already increased when you started out, or for many years.
Yes,
so,
and I'm flattered. That's why I said I don't know. Yeah, that's why I said I'm flattered. I have not really seen, and to be honest with you, I don't think I had any room to increase with COVID.
That's the problem.
Yes.
We have people that are having these relationship issues, but there are not enough of us clinicians to even meet the demand.
There isn't.
So there's people that are struggling and trying to figure it out on their own, but luckily there are shows like ours that can help, and you have your own podcast
Absolutely.
show. So there's help available, even if you can't come in and see a professional.
Please
use
reach
social
out.
media. There's platforms out there.
Reach out.
Not everyone is good, and not everyone actually knows what they're talking about. So do your research, investigate the person that you're watching. And I'm gonna just bring this up like we did last
Dr.
week.
T. That's important, because even though someone is licensed, and I'm very, very...
And some people aren't. I'm going to mention this.
That doesn't mean you're good either.
This Derek Jackson. You've heard of this Derek Jackson?
Yes.
So he has several books about relationships and all that.
Yes.
And he is not in the field.
No.
He's not an expert at all. He has a degree in marketing and sales.
Correct.
Well, apparently he's doing well there.
Well, yes, because
he is doing well. He markets
he markets his stuff well. That's what he went to school for. So, of course, he's going to do that well. But that does not mean that he is an expert in what he's talking about.
Correct.
He's just talking about his experiences and putting it in writing.
And by expert, let me explain to the audience what it means to be an expert.
Thank you, and especially when you're licensed, you got to be careful.
Exactly.
You are specifically educated, monitored by the state of Michigan, how you
or whatever state you're in,
or whatever state,
Absolutely.
or country.
And then you have to take a national exam, which is mandated by the state in which you're practicing. And then you go through and get a licensing, which is very tedious and insane, long process.
Yes.
Then once you're licensed, you have to maintain your license, so it's monitored by the state. It's in a health code. You're a healthcare provider, right?
Absolutely.
And in addition to that, we still have to do continuing education. For those who don't know what that is, that means even though we have been in the field, every year we still have to receive training because things change. We're always evolving. So we have to still have that additional training. But let's get back to our topic. Let me ask, out of the couples that you're seeing, what percentage are there for infidelity?
Ooh, I want to say 75 to 80%.
Wow, that's high.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it would probably be closer to 80%. Yes. one partner cheated, both partners cheated. That's usually what I deal with. And I'm honest, yes.
And what are some of the reasons that people say that caused them to cheat?
And this is a big thing. And I ask this, and I have to be careful on the disclosure, and I tell people, I look at what caused it. Now, the disclosure comes in, people, about looking at, because I look at for what caused it, that does not justify or condone it. I don't want, well, Greg said I cheated because you made me. No. What we feel, we have to take responsibility and look at what happens. Now, there has to be genuine remorse and guilt, and there has to be a commitment, let's face it, not to cheat again. And another aspect, because people are in a lifestyle, they're swingers, open relationship, bisexual, poly, that doesn't mean they cheat if they're having sex or talking to somebody else. Cheating is deemed by each individual and each couple dynamic. That's very, very important. It's not for me to decide what cheating is. I have my own ideas what cheating is, but it's not for any other individual in this room, not family members, nobody. It is up to you to set those rules and those boundaries. And please don't assume. You need to talk about those expectations about what cheating is, what constitutes cheating, and then go from there. But a lot of affairs, and the majority of my affairs are caused because one partner or both, they're not feeling loved, they're not feeling desired, they're not feeling respected. They're, maybe taken for granted. And it's not like, oh, one day I don't feel loved or desired, so I'm going to go out and cheat. Most people, in my experience, and I can't speak for anybody else, that, that's usually what causes it. So if we can heal that and look at what goes on, there's a good chance it can be healed, mended, and, the forgiveness can be there in most cases, not all. And, there are also other facets. People cheat because of ego, right? The ego. They want to see if they still have swag. Women, men, they love the attention. Some people just want variety. There's a lot of research out there, and I'm, part of different sex therapy organizations out there throughout the country. And we talk about, being sex positive and all this stuff, but it has to be in the parameters of what you deem as cheating. So there's a lot of depth to it that people don't understand. They think it's simple, it's bad. I've had other therapists, and I visited this was many years ago. I wasn't polite. That lady came in, said her husband cheated, and this therapist told her, you need to leave him. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And I unprofessionally visited this therapist because I saw the couple after this lady, individual saw this therapist, and I said one thing that's very biased, very judgmental, and you're wrong. That doesn't mean once a cheater, always a cheater. That's so not true. And so that's what we're talking about. You have to make sure the licensed professional is not biased, judgmental, and it's very crucial.
Do you think that statement comes from just people just saying, people can't change once, leverage can't change its spots? And I mean,
I agree, but what are we doing? And I take a lot of pride in this, and I'm very critical of people seeking help. And I tell people, Greg, do you think people can change or grow and evolve? I said, yeah, or I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Hello.
But you have to want to, right? That person has to want to change, and if they don't know how, are they willing to get the help and seek the help, especially when let's face it, when cheating happens, it's devastating. People, they come to the context of, all their expectations, all their dreams, all their wishes get shattered.
Right.
And it is, we're going to grow old together, raise grandkids or play with the grandkids. We're going to retire together, whatever, and all of a sudden that just gets shattered. That's the reality.
Basically,
and then trying to
the
build
world,
that.
as one knows it, changes and it shakes.
It's devastating for most people. Let's be real.
Let's talk a bit about intimacy, right? You've seen a lot of couples, and there's times where couples will come in and say, or one and talk about their relationship and say, I haven't had sex in a year, 2. I've heard as long as 15 years. Right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
What's up with that?
I tell people, number one, if that is a problem with the couple, then it's a problem. if they haven't had sex in 15 years and they're both okay with it and they're not lying, and are you lying to me? You playing with me? You know, I joke around, and no, that's not their issue. I don't deem that as an issue. You get me? Mm-hmm. Now, me personally would be different, but it's not about me personally. It's looking at, if that's not an issue. I've had couples over the years, they have sex once a year, and I ask, are you okay with that?
Brings the big
they're
question.
both okay with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching In Session on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Please like, share, and follow us. And we stream live on Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, and YouTube. Yeah. And this show today is brought to you by Hanson's Roofing. If you are in need of a roof or repairs, siding, gutters, windows, call 1-800-HANSON and they will set you straight, and tell them Dr. T referred you.
So since we're talking about the frequency,
well,
of intimacy,
no, we have to do a public service announcement.
As we battle the COVID-19 pandemic, it's clear that misinformation can be just as deadly as this awful virus and spread just as quickly. Myths are spreading on the internet and social media, so it is important to know the facts to keep our community healthy. The vaccines offered throughout Wayne County Public Health and are scientifically proven to be safe. It is important for each of us to get vaccinated and scheduled as soon as possible. Visit waynecounty.com/COVID-19 to get the latest information.
Yes, and we are back with our Love Guru Greg here. And if you want to join the conversation, call us at 313-355-6018. Again, that number is 313-315-6018.
So we...
Greg,
what?
I've read different studies, different times,
yes.
Right? But generally speaking, what is the healthy way or how frequent sex should occur to be healthy in a couple?
See, that
every day.
Are you talking with yourself or with a partner? No,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter,
it's
right?
Sex.
There's a lot of studies out there, and I tell people out there could be a lot of studies because a study states, okay, it's proven you have this much sex. It might not work for everybody, okay? Because you also have to look at, are there disabilities? Are there people that just, their sex drive,
it's
atypical is asexual. Mm-hmm. And I hate, labels and throwing labels out there that are asexual. They might not have a desire, drive, whatever. And all of a sudden, you might not have, okay, if you don't have sex, that means you're not going to have a healthy, fulfilling relationship. For most people, sex is important. Let's get, out there.
And healthy.
It's very healthy and very, well, let's hope if it's done correctly, right?
It is healthy because there's studies that say that having a healthy sex life, having sex at least 2 to 3 days a week increases your livelihood.
Absolutely.
Times, not days, times.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet now. I think I'm saying
when sex is fulfilling, let's just say that, right? And the old, and I promote men, in heterosexual relationships, men, please your lady, let them get off first. Let's face that, right?
You heard it from the Love Guru. Let the ladies get ours first.
Yep.
Because trust me, we can go again.
Yeah, most women, not all, but most women are multiple orgasmic. So let's face it, us men, we're one and done.
This is getting really uncomfortable. So, no, just joking. Keep going.
So, going back on that, how many times you have sex a week depends on the couple, exhaustion, and all this stuff. And I'm a firm believer, touch, sex brings couples closer together.
Absolutely.
But you talked about intimacy, Dr. Sabi, in looking at, you can have intimacy, but I also look at it as different aspects. Is it physical intimacy? Is there emotional intimacy? Mm-hmm. Can sex, and I'm all about, sex, mind, body, heart, and soul, the mental aspects. Are you able to look at each other in the eyes when you're having sex, that deep emotional connection, where some people are afraid. Some people are shy about that. And hold on, ladies, I don't want you breaking your neck if you are in front of your man and you want to look at his eyes. Get a mirror in front of you, and that might work. So I don't want anyone to break their neck. But yeah, sex is healthy. It kicks up endorphins. Are you okay? No, it kicks up endorphins. It kicks up, the oxytocin in your body. It's huge. It makes us feel good, right? It makes us feel wanted, needed, desired. What's awesome? How many people do not want to feel like they're turned on?
Mm-hmm. But when you have a mate and then that person ventures off from the relationship, what are some of the feelings and emotions that are triggered from the person that is being cheated on?
Oh, devastating, betrayal, total deceit, total disgust. Not only those aspects, the anger, the hurt and all this, but let's face it, the feelings of inadequacy. I'm not good enough. I don't turn my partner on. I'm not attractive enough, right? I'm not smart enough. They cheated because I'm no good. I'm not good enough. So there's a lot of insecurities and self-worth and love that comes to the table that gets shattered as long with it. Now, I look at it as an individual issue, or is it the relationship dynamic that's going on? Is it just, I always say this, right? There are people out there that are dogs and hoes. Good luck to you. Okay. They might not ever change, but good luck to you. Most people in my experience are not that way. Most people, there's usually a reason that goes on that, triggers it. And can we heal that? That's the most important part, right? I tried. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we'll talk about healing later.
Okay. And it's crucial. But going back to the feelings, one person that gets cheated on, they're the anger, the rage. Let's face it. And I tell people, underneath all that, the reality is you feel hurt. You feel crushed. Your trust aspects is, you don't even know. You wake up the next day, all of a sudden, like you said, you're expecting to live your life this way, and it gets shattered, and they don't know if they're coming or going. Their whole world gets turned upside down, inside out, and they don't know what to trust at all. And that happens. They don't know, now is my best friend lying to me? Is, now my family, there's a lot of self-doubt that comes in, not only within the relationship, but within their whole essence of who they are.
So when this happens and you first find out, what shouldn't a person do?
Kill that partner.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
That's a do not do, right?
Right, do not do. Do not do that.
Okay. Do not kill that partner. I don't want you to go to
And if you're
prison.
alive, see a therapist.
Yes. The first thing I tell people to do, it's very crucial, because when we are crushed and hurt with that, a lot of people want to go off our emotions. I get that, right? I do not want people to do anything off of impulse or, just, out of, simple reaction. They're
so
talking.
Don't rush into decisions.
Big time. That's huge. And I tell people, take a breath. You need to even step back. You might not want to talk with each other. Don't hit the person.
Space.
You need to give that space to cool off and to think, try to get down in what's going on. And a lot of people will automatically, they'll tell everybody. They'll tell social media. Don't do that. Please do not do that. Do not try to bring so many people into it. They'll automatically, we're hurt, right? So you tell your best friend, you tell your mom, your sister, your brother, we're hurt. I get it. I understand it. But I don't want people to do anything drastic, like all of a sudden they're moving out of the house. They're talking to an attorney, divorce papers are filed the very next day or that day. I don't want anyone to make any drastic decisions that they might regret later. And a lot of cheating can be healed. It can be resolved. Not all.
So what's that process look like, that mending process of the relationship?
Number one has to be, like I said at the beginning, we have to look at what caused it. What was going on? What was going on in your partner's head, heart, soul, whatever, mentality that led them to cheat, him or her, right? So we need to understand what was going on. What was, were you doing it just out of selfishness because you could? We need to find out, what was going on, because if there is no reason, we have nothing to work with. What do we have to fix? You get me? Oh, our marriage was great. Everything was great. We had, we're having great sex 5 times a day. Right. like Dr. T wants, and looking at
all of a sudden I cheated, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're talking about not cheating with ourselves, right?
Right.
Our hands, anyways, fingers, toys, anyways. But so we need, if there's no, we don't need have a reason why you cheated. Then what do we have to work with? So that's so crucial to look at, even if it's a ego trip, if it's someone seeing if they still have game, if they still have it. We need to understand what's going on so we can help repair it and find out what's going on. Then one of the very crucial element is that person has to show remorse and guilt for their actions. And it's not, as we know, it's not because they got caught. How many people, right? Oh, I feel bad because I got caught. No. It's about feeling bad and the remorse and guilt for the pain you caused your partner.
So
that's crucial.
So taking accountability
Absolutely.
and ownership of your actions is going to be very important in this mending
crucial.
Process.
It's crucial.
So let's say, for example, someone has an affair and they don't own up to it. How does that impact the relationship now? Chances
are you will, even if that couple decides to
contemplation, right?
Yes, very much so. If that relationship if they decide to stay together, that, to me, my opinion is it'll never be healed. It will always come back. It'll always get thrown back up in that person's face.
Right.
And let's face it, rightfully so. And I get people, they might have cheated 10 years ago, come up, and it's still an issue. The first thing I'm going after is, was it healed properly?
Right.
Did you own your shit? Oops, sorry.
No,
Okay.
You can say whatever you want.
Do you own, and I tell couples, the person that does betraying needs to own their shit for what they do, the pain that was caused. And, if a lot of people won't do that, it'll be, for an instant, one partner will come in, oh my God, Greg, get him or get her off my butt. I already said I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. I found out yesterday, and I said I'm sorry, and it's the next day. Oh my God, get him off my butt. And I'm like,
That's
I'm
not
like,
even realistic.
I'm like, excuse me?
Right.
I'm like, excuse me? That tells me it's more about what you feel versus your partner.
Right.
That you don't want to deal with it and own your stuff and take accountability, like Dr. T said. That it's not going to work. And I'm going to tell you, the cards are going to be stacked against you that relationship won't be healed.
Often there's a question that people ask, how long will it take for therapy to have some effects? And I know everyone is different. All dynamics obviously present in your office are different. Generally speaking, what can people expect?
I tell people, if you're looking at, in a fair situation, somebody cheated, I'm different and I can't speak for anybody. I can't guarantee this, but in my experience, I like to see moderate improvement. I want to say within 3 to 4 sessions. Now,
what does that look like? What does moderate improvement look like?
Moderate improvement looks like there is remorse being shown. Okay. There's more of a connection, more of an understanding going. That doesn't mean, when I say moderate improvement, that doesn't mean trust is rebuilt.
Right.
Okay. Oh, no. Trust, it's going to take a while, and it's got to be consistency. But when I look at moderate improvement, they're able to talk about, they're able to hear one another, they're able to look at what caused it, and that doesn't mean it's justified or condoned. No. But the person takes ownership, and the other person is looking at maybe their role that they played in that situation. Again, I get people, Greg, you're saying it's my fault that he homped on her and cheated on me. No. It's not about that. It's about taking, responsibility and looking at both people's roles in the relationship and where it was at. And it's very difficult if one partner, they even said the other person's been perfect. We have sex all the time, and the other one's been cheating for 3 years and just out of ego trip, out of maybe just different sexual pleasure, So it's very difficult. Now, I thought I was loved. We thought, I thought everything was perfect and everything were great, loving each other, going here, going there, active sex life, everything's fine. And that's even more difficult to heal because, okay, we thought everything was great. Now, what happened?
Damn, you just got hit with a back.
Given that you do this for living, Greg, I can help it but to ask you this
Please.
question. Are people having more sex now during COVID than before?
No.
Darn it.
On average, no.
Okay.
because
well, look at the domestic violence rate going up.
Yeah,
so
COVID.
It's like
Absolutely, and that's
Mm-hmm.
yep. And I tell people that because of the stress, because of people losing jobs. There's a lot more stress out there. You're confined. If one person worked out of the home, both people work out of the home. You're able to escape and have your own identity, if you will. Now, you're breathing in air. Kids, if they're doing virtual learning and you're trying to work from home, if you do have a job. So there's a lot more stress. So I see people, they're not having sex as much. There are people that are, but I think that's the smallest percentage of the point that they don't. And it's due because of stress, worry. I'm going to say it's that. It's stress. It's worried about, I haven't been able to see my mom in the nursing home or go to my parents' house because of fear of COVID, and they're highly sensitive, or, they have chronic health issues that they just can't. So I do see people having a decrease in sex. And it's, I did a thing on a local TV station, news station back in June, I think it was. And I said, it's going to be, it's sort of funny, but it's true. You're going to have an increase of babies and an increase of divorces.
With that, you are watching In Session on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe, and tune into In Session every Thursday from 6 to 5 p.m.
Also, as we battle the COVID-19 pandemic, it's clear that misinformation can be just as deadly as this awful virus itself and spread just as quickly. Let's keep in mind that Michigan cases have been significantly increasing, including hospitalizations.
Yes.
Myths are spreading on internet and social media, so it is important to know the facts to keep our community healthy. The vaccines offered through Wayne County Public Health are scientifically proven to be safe. It is important that each of us to get the vaccine scheduled as soon as you are able to. To do so, visit waynecounty.com/COVID-19 to get the latest information. Careful with the social media information unless you're listening to this show.
That's right. And this show is being sponsored by Hanson's Windows. If you have any roofing, siding issues, please call them at 1-800-HANSON.
Sweet.
So darn it, Greg, it's always fascinating talking to you, by the way. How is that this COVID doesn't only kill us, but for many people it's killing their pleasurable sex part of them.
The drive, the desire, I think it's just killing them. I think the huge thing, it's the stress. A lot of people have a lot more worries. They're worried about, wearing the mask all the time. They, going into stores more. There's just a lot more stress and worried about sick ones. And especially with people with chronic illness, cancer, whatever, diabetes, asthma, a lot of high risk situations that it's just a lot more. It's stressful dealing with those. But when you have COVID and your whole world gets upside down financially, or, even social isolation, it's hard to be turned on, you know?
Yeah. But some people are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong.
And
yes, they are.
Is because
we have one right over there.
And because we're isolated and not able to move about as we once were, do you see
Are you talking
more...
sexually speaking, moving around the way you want to?
No,
okay.
Physically.
Just wanted to clarify. Just wanted to clarify.
Do you see more emotional cheating now?
Yes. Okay. I have seen that. I love that question. It's great.
And while we're on that, just help us understand emotional cheating, obviously, versus sexual cheating.
Yes. Emotional cheating, thanks, Dr. Sabi. Emotional cheating is where one person could be talking to another one, sharing intimate details about their life. Oh, me and my wife are going through she's this, she's that. When you start sharing more intimate details, emotional intimate details via text, direct messaging, social media outlets, that is what I would deem emotional cheating. Or it could be you're talking that way, not only social media, but with a coworker, another friend, of the opposite sex. Or if you're in a same-sex relationship, that works for that as well. You get me? It's when you're sharing emotional, intimate details about your life or what's going on with you when you should be sharing that with your partner.
So what you're doing is creating that emotional bond, those ties.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
I love that. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I love how you put that perfectly. And it's, it goes on, and I see a lot more of that. There's more like text messages. There's been a lot of more people I've seen on dating apps, and they're in a exclusive relationship. They're married, or a committed relationship, living together. People are getting caught on dating apps, other social media outlets, talking, chatting with anybody, sending pictures, inappropriate pictures, naked pictures. By the way, if you have any, no, I'm teasing. No, my phone number is, no, I don't want, I don't, I'm teasing people. But, those type of things. And it's like, you have, women sending boob shots to another guy, and the husband, man, you don't even send me those. And, there's that hurt, and there's that, the emotional disconnect. Big time.
Now, Greg, there's, you hear people say that, I only did it once and that was just a mistake. And then you have others who say, I just pulled a Bill Clinton, right? I didn't really have sex. Tell me.
Is oral sex?
He's looking like,
he's looking for an excuse. No, I look at.
Is that actually to minimize what has taken place?
Oh, absolutely. I call it to belittle. Not to belittle. I'm sorry, Dr. Sabi. They water it down.
So they
try to
downplay
downplay it. They belittle the impact it has on their partner. Mm-hmm. It was only text. It's not like I had sex with them. I hear this often.
Or at least
it's not like I gave him a blowjob. It's not like I gave him a blowjob, Greg. It's not like I, did her or played with her tits or whatever. It's, they downplay it. They water it down. They try to excuse like it's no big deal, and they gotta get after the impact it had on that partner.
Mm. Which, going based off of what you said earlier,
yes.
That's a problem because they're not ready to really have a real conversation about what has taken place here.
They look at, it's not a big deal.
Is seeing the back of your head. That's all they're really seeing is the back of your head.
Okay. Yep.
Nice haircut, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, Greg keeps me busy every time.
So for individuals who may be watching an excessive amount of porn, would that be considered cheating?
That depends on each individual and each individual relationship. That's a great question. Now, my question is, what is success? Right? Even the World Health Organization got rid of the term porn addiction, sex addiction. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that they got away from that, and there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt thrown on people, if there's compulsive aspects versus it being, you're a sex addict, you're a porn addict. And I still get people that try to argue and debate with me, my husband, my wife's a porn addict, sex addict, whatever. And I'm like, I'm trying to educate you. You think what you want, but this is the reality. And there's a huge shift over the last probably 5 to 10 years in this country about trying to get away from those shame and the guilt labels. Mm-hmm. But with the porn aspect, I look at some people love watching porn together all the time. A lot of women like watching porn. There's men that don't like watching porn. So there's a lot of stigmas. And I look at, what role does porn play in your relationship? What damage does it cause, if any? Right, okay. And that's the big thing. So it's a very subjective answer to that. I have some people, you cheated on me, you watched porn. And I'm like, tell me, why do you think that was cheating on you? Now, if someone is watching porn a lot more times, say they'd rather watch porn and masturbate than have sex with their partner, and their partner is willing and wanting it, then that's an issue in my eyes, right? So that's what I look at, what is the dynamic of the relationship in each individual? What is the meaning behind porn and sex? And it could be the same thing with masturbation. You cheated on me because you masturbated. And I'm like, huh? Tell me why. It's, you have my mouth, you have my whatever going on. You don't have to masturbate. And I said, try to educate people. It could be a stress reliever. It could be, you don't have to worry about pleasuring or performance anxiety. It could be just a stress reliever, and it's your own body. How can you cheat on somebody with your own body? That's just my professional advice on that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so real or myth, do women, when they engage in sex, people say they're more emotionally involved as men are more physically involved? True or not?
On average, that's a myth.
Okay. That's very interesting.
Why is that interesting, Dr. Fishta? Because you had this look on your face like
Because
you wanted a different answer.
I often hear
There's a
people,
lot of
and
stereotypes
that's
out
correct.
there.
I
Yes.
often hear people that, it's only physical for me, and if my wife cheats, then that's really emotional. There's no truth in that, right? Especially certain cultures hold that to be.
They absolutely, I agree. There are certain cultural stigmas and myths and stereotypes out there. There's a lot, and I ask people all the time, I want men to express to their female partners, if they're heterosexual, that sex is emotional to them. When you ask men, they feel craved, they feel desired, they feel loved through sex, just like ladies do, no different. But men need to express that, and females need to understand that men feel that way too. It's emotional for them. There could be a man coming in, a couple, we'll say a couple comes in, and he says, my wife doesn't want to have sex with me, or as often. And I say, I'm sort of a jerk in a way, but with a purpose. And I'll ask, so you're telling me you don't turn your wife on? You don't even get her wet, do you? And you see, I know, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do it with a purpose, because all of a sudden I see tears come out of his eyes. And I'll say to, the wife, girlfriend, look at him. What do you see? Oh my God, I said, I thought you said sex was not emotional to him. Do you get me? So when I'm being a jerk, I'm doing it on a purpose.
And I get it.
Therapeutic asshole. There you go.
It's almost like the technique that we is confrontational.
Absolutely.
So that means it's a technique that we use.
Yep.
And sometimes we have to be confrontational.
And I'm very compassionate. I'm not, not a jerk or whatever. I'm very compassionate because I want the emotional expression. And they're balled up, and they've been feeling this. But it's like they're finally given permission to express it. And I want to teach men to be able to express it with you two, with each other, not just with me. I want to give you that permission to express the emotional connection that you feel through sex. And don't get me wrong, there's men out there, it's just physical for them. Most of them are not. Most of us are not that way. And there's women out there, just screw me, forget about all the lovey-dovey stuff. I just want to get off,
Right. And so, that's true, because you do have women,
there's
have
so many
women
myths and stereotypes.
Emotions do not always rule us. And we are not emotional creatures all the time, and we can have sex without having the emotional attachment to it. I mean, how many times women have had one night stands? There's no emotional attachment in that. So that's truly a myth.
Friends with benefits, right? And then the guy falls in love with them and the girl disses them. Oh, we're only friends.
Exactly.
So, Craig, what's the involvement of self-esteem in sex, right? Because you mentioned the man there having tears because he hasn't been able to perform in meaningful ways, so to speak. And clearly self-esteem start to be involved. Either there is the denial of being allowed to engage in sexual
Absolutely.
partner. So how does that come into play?
Sexual
or even leading into cheating sometimes.
No,
right?
well, that's a good, because if you feel like you're not pleasing your partner, and then it feels better, you please somebody else, that's a huge ego boost. Let's face it, right? If you feel like you cannot please your partner, that destroys most people. Some people don't care, and my question is, if you're with them, why are you with them if they don't care, right? But that's a great topic as far as confidence. And a lot of people can be confident in what we do as a living, their career, be a parent, but sexual confidence can be totally different. Sexual confidence, my idea is that you own your body, regardless of what shape, size, or whatever you are, to own your body and to be able to be confident in what you like and what you don't like. And not only true confidence, I also look at when it comes to this, are you willing to learn? Or if someone says, you know what, I would like this, oh, fine, I'm not good enough. They bash, and that self-hatred, that self-esteem, the insecurities come out in anger and rage and trying to bash that other person.
Right.
True confidence, to me, you're able to want to learn from your partner. Man, tell me, how can I be a better lover to you? How can I please you better? That type of thing. So that's right. Confidence, it can shut people down from wanting to have sex because of the insecurity. Well, if I don't please her, I don't please him, I'm not even going to try anymore.
Right.
You get me?
What about, Greg, Freud talked about, he was big on sexual drives and energy and so forth, right? and it seems so fascinating, rich to me, and I can never get to the end of these conversations if time wasn't ticking on us. But what's this sexual energy that creates either positive or negative environment, or makes us feel less than, or makes us feel better? What's with to your best?
Are you talking through sexual aspects?
Well, sexual aspects, correct. What's this?
I think a lot of it.
You are watching In Session on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please like, share, and follow, and subscribe. And this episode is sponsored by Hanson Windows. If you are in need of windows, gutters, or siding, please call them at 1-800-HANSON.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Now, as far as the role it plays on, are you talking about relationship, personal satisfaction, and confidence as far as that comes into it?
Correct.
And I agree.
Is that energy so powerful?
It's huge. When people, it's ironic how many people get sexually pleased, and you're fully sexually pleased, they glow. Mm-hmm. I don't know if have you ever seen Dr. T come in and she's just glowing?
I'm always glowing.
There's those times that she seems to be much happier than others.
That's because I just got a big paycheck.
When you, that can make you glow too, right? But when you have that sexual energy and you feel that sexual pleasure, it just carries, you feel lighter, you feel a lot more energized
and
better
stress.
And less stress, big time. The endorphins and all that. But not only that, I think you feel even more elated because your partner cares enough to make sure you're pleased.
Right.
So it's that energy, it's that lift, right? It's going from, would you rather be happy and elated or down and depressed?
And I want to lead into something else right from there.
Sure.
Greg. It's fascinating looking at cultures around the world.
4 minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay, so before you have 4 minutes, go ahead and
I know.
Go ahead.
I know.
Yeah. So kids, at what age is healthy? Obviously, everyone is different dynamics. You have cultures around the world that encourage their teenagers to have sex.
At
right?
13 years old.
Yes, over here we die. I'm a dad, right? No, you don't do that. And end of story. You'll get married and do that. Which I know it's.
No, you'll never get married for your daughter, right?
I know it's not reality, but that seems to be our desire, right? As parents.
It depends. I think you see a shift, and let's face it, I think it depends on the culture. Let's face it, that's a huge deal. The culture aspects. To me, I'm all about educating kids to be safe, okay? About teenagers. I am one, I hate to tell you, Dr. Sabe, I am one that promotes premarital sex. And I am going to piss a lot of people off that are very rigid, religious aspects, different cultures. This is me, and I'm okay. I'm not here to please everybody. Because I tell people, when you get married and you find out that you're sexually incompatible, what happens? Do you understand? So,
Divorce.
And some people disagree and cheating or that type of aspect. So I'm huge on sexual compatibility, and I get some people, you can learn, you can grow. You know what?
Some things you can't.
Some things you just cannot grow. So that's where I promote, sexual compatibility. Now with teens, and I get asked this a lot, teens are going to have sex. Some of them, not all of them. You want to teach them to respect their bodies, to be safe, to be healthy. How many parents are squeamish about even talking about sex to their kids? What about not only sex, precaution, all that stuff, but what about sexual pleasure? Would you talk to your teenage daughter about?
I'm going to be honest. No, I would not.
Do you know what? Hey, honey,
he's already turning red. He's already turning red and flushed in the face.
He looks like he's going to puke in a minute.
I know, right?
But, hey, honey, do you know how to be sexually pleased? How many people would talk to their teen that way?
My daughter, first thing she'll say, Dad, you're talking weird.
I remember my daughter, doing this for a long time when my daughter was a teenager many years ago. I'd talk, Dad, I would get that. Okay, I get you. I'm here. You want to talk.
I'd hate
you
to
can't
be your
force
daughter,
it.
a teenager,
God.
and her friends asked her, what does your dad do? He's a sex therapist.
I know.
Before you leave, Greg.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry I got to leave.
Do you really have to leave?
I'm sorry.
Give us a couple of tips for couples to to keep the romance going and to hopefully prevent infidelity?
You know, I would love it. Number one, you have to be able to talk about not only sex, but your emotional hurts, your emotional frustrations, to be able to talk about that, but also talk about what you would like to try, sexually. I talk about, sex can be thrown up against the wall, animalistic, rip your clothes off. It also can be sensual, loving, that you put your hand on each other's heart and feel each other's breath. It can be fun. It can be playful. It can be, a little spanky on the booty. It can be a pillow fight. It can be fun.
It could be out in public.
Well, yes, it can be out in public.
Okay, wait.
Oh, yeah,
let me rephrase that.
Disclosure. If you have sex out in public, you might get arrested for indecent exposure. And I'm all about, how many people would be, it can jazz it up about having sex on the beach, right?
Right.
But have a blanket because women or men don't want sand in your crack.
Yeah,
no.
It's hard to get out.
Having sex in a parking lot in the car in daylight.
Right. So things of those.
You can jazz it up, and I love that. But you can have fun with it and be playful and be animalistic, and that's okay, and be sensual. So look at all these areas and, what areas you would like to improve on or try. Role playing. Those type of things, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
How can people reach you?
Oh, people can reach me. Go to my website, theartofrelationships.org. You can check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/Detroit's Love Guru, YouTube, same thing, all over the place. And my phone number's on my website, and I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you guys inviting me. And I'm sorry I got to leave early.
Yep. No, you're good. Thank you for coming, and we love you so much, and you will be back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Now, Dr. T will promote having sex 5 times a day.
5 times a day, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, everybody. Please.
Thank you, Greg.
Bye-bye.
So it's just fascinating, Dr. T. I think it's just breathtaking to know that there is such therapists that work at that level with relationships, right? Because this can give people hope that we can actually go to the next step.
Right.
Whatever it is that it means to a person or a couple. Right.
And it also means that infidelity does not have to mean the end of a relationship. It can be mended if there is infidelity in a relationship. There's time. It's going to take time.
Even if it means the end, right? You want to give time, process, and if it is the end, it is the end. But take it through professionals and let it be wherever it goes from there, because it doesn't always have to work, right?
Right.
And obviously, like Greg said, there is other dynamics behind the cheating that seems to be a simple act, but there is a series of steps that a person has to go through in order to get there.
Exactly. And there's a series of steps in the recovery process, especially for the person that has been cheated on. Rebuilding that trust.
One of the questions that comes to mind is, like Greg said, number one, the reasons, right? And it doesn't have to be your partner's reasons, but the general reasons as what this person get out of that, right? And again, where are they in this process of change, right? Using those stages of change, which have been scientifically proven to be really accurate, right? If a person is not talking about it, they're pre-contemplated. They're not ready to take that step, right?
That's right.
And it's important to understand and recognize and identify that, so you make decisions more wise and educated decisions, so to speak.
That's right. And next week, we are going to have a very special guest with us.
Always special guest.
Yeah, I know. I say that without all our guests
They're
are
all
special, right?
That's why we say that. Yes.
But we'll have Joyce Martyr from Chicago joining us. And we're going to be talking about self-care. She has a book that'll be coming out soon.
How important during these times, right?
Yeah, and it's about building financial wealth.
Excellent.
So, and she's had, we'll talk about her when she gets here next week. But, this has been a really stimulating conversation because the race of cheating has... I don't know if it's increased over the years or if it's about the same, but the results
Well, and keep
are
in
always
mind,
the same.
Dr. T, the roles have changed, have shifted, right? With the new generations, the millennials and others. What you have is a change in the traditional way of life.
Yes.
Right? And it means different things for different people, but this generation seems to be more open-minded in certain areas and more or less open-minded in certain areas. It's good to know, evaluate, understand, and proceed based on knowledge that's actually on ground. So
That's right. So join us next week from 5 to 6 p.m. on In Session on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook from 5 to 6 p.m. And again, this episode has been brought to you by Hanson's Windows.